Hello, my name's Jane Talbot and I specialise in the psychological, emotional and spiritual aspects of weight loss and optimal health. And welcome to this final post, the 12th post of my 12 Days of Christmas project. And the whole purpose of this project has been about your learning to stay on track naturally. And if you remember back to my launch post, I used the metaphor of cross-country skiing, explaining that we'd be learning to get into the tracks, to assess changing conditions and respond accordingly, and finally to build confidence and skill in staying on track naturally. So, over the last 12 days, I hope you've enjoyed being in your body more. And being in your body more is about your being in the tracks. I hope you're developing confidence in your ability to distinguish between an emotional signal and a physiological hunger signal. And my biggest hope of all is that you're beginning to develop a trusting relationship with your body, that you're beginning to have confidence in its skills and your own skills. Because some people say that when you have confidence that your body can support you in your journey towards optimal weight for you, when it can support you in your journey towards optimal health, both emotional and physical health, then you're well on your way to staying on track. Not just any track, by the way. Because most people say when they're being in their body, respecting signals, processing emotions, and building a trustful and respectful relationship, that they begin to experience themselves in new ways. Often people say they look in the mirror and they see for the first time in a very long time their whole full self looking back, and they recognise themselves. Some people say at this point, when you're all connected with all of you to your deepest self, that you begin to experience your connection with other people in a whole different and nourishing way. And that you begin to experience and make connections with the wider world in new, enriching ways too. A couple of years ago, I was out running, an early morning run, and I love to take my early morning runs out in nature. I like to be alone, sucking it all in. On this particular morning, it was a morning that I was far from alone. As I was running along, I heard a thunder of footfall behind me. Not any footfall, it was the footfall of runners. Not any runners either, racing runners. And as they ran past me, ahead of me and surrounded me, noticing their race numbers, I began to giggle. Because in that moment, I said out loud, "Jane, you're part of this race." And then very quickly after that, I also said out loud, "Jane, you are back not only in the race, you're back and part of the human race. You're feeling human." And wow, what a penny dropping moment it was for me, because I realised I had not been feeling human for a very, very long time, not connected to my body, not connected to myself. And it was such a wonderful experience to realise I was back. And as I continued to run, as it happens very often in races, the other runners began to speak to me. And one runner said to me, "What most people don't realise is it's not just about running the race, it's about all the preparation that gets you to the start line. And we really have to recognise how important that is." And as I continued running, people would be clapping, all of us from the side. They would say things like, "You're nearly there," or "You're much further on than you think," or "You are way ahead." All you have to do is keep your eye on the mile signs and just notice how much progress you're making. And the real clincher for me was crossing the line of a race I wasn't even in. And as I crossed the line, another runner who had finished a long time before, who had got one of the prizes, came up and shook my hand and congratulated me as he was shaking everyone else's hand. And I noticed his medal around his neck, and I noticed how confident he was in his body. I noticed how comfortable he looked in his old dirty running kit. And as I stood next to that confidence, do you know what? I began to feel it too. And I learned a lot from that experience. I learned not only how powerful it is to be connected to your whole self, to be running in the same direction, body and mind, all heading in the same direction and connected not only to me, but to everyone else. I not only learned how powerful that was, but I also realised how powerful and nurturing support can be before the race, during the race and after the race. And that's really what I want to talk to you about today. How to nurture your growing connection and where to find sources of support. Thinking back to the race story I just told, then if you want to find it easy to get to the start line, and I salute all of you watching this who are moving towards the start line. Some of the most challenging steps are even before the race begins. Maybe you want to connect and reconnect with your friends who truly support your aspirations for developing a healthy relationship between your mind and your body. To get onto your side those people who are going to nurture you in all the ways that are right for you. Then, when you're in the race, you want to be surrounded by people who are maybe running at your own pace, maybe a little bit further ahead, maybe a little bit further behind, but who are nevertheless part of the same race because they understand the terrain. They understand what the experience is like. They also know what it was like to get to the start line, and they also have the same hopes and expectations of what it's going to be like to cross the line and run future races. And of course, the third source of support is those people who have already crossed the line. The second source of support you might find in online support communities or in local groups. And this third source of support, well, they're all around you. You just have to look. Those people have already gone through the weight loss journey and are enjoying a healthy relationship between their mind and their body and are living the kind of life and relationship with their body that you'd like to. And there's just a word of caution with spending time with these kind of people. Because if you spend a lot of time with people who enjoy their bodies and their relationship with it, who have complete body confidence, who are energized and in touch with powerful positive motivations to get physically active, and who really know how to take pleasure in eating, you better watch out, because that is completely contagious. As for me, I would love to support you on your continuing journey. Please feel free to take a tour of my website, www.thighhighbootcamp.com. You'll find a resources page, and you'll also find details of the live events I hold, of coaching packages and of upcoming teleseminars. And of course, please feel free to keep connected to the blog. If you want to revisit this 12 Days of Christmas project, then I invite you to do the project at your own pace. Some people take 12 full days, some people like to spread it out, and some people say there's one key post that really caught my attention and I'm actually going to focus on that activity for a period of time. Just engage with the process in a way that's right for you. So here we are, and it's nearing the close of the 12th day. The sun is setting here in Northern Ireland. It's about 5 to 4. The Christmas tree tomorrow technically should come down, but last year it was up for a little bit longer because we do enjoy celebrating in this household. All it remains for me to say now is thank you so much for sharing this experience with me. And I just like to leave you with two things. One is the thought that when you're connecting to yourself in new ways, and life opens up opportunities to you in terms of the way you relate to other people and you relate to the world, you might want to make certain changes. And you might want to also learn new and deeper ways of connecting to yourself. And to support that, I have listed below this video a range of other resources that you might find useful, as well as some of my own. The other thing I'd like to say is just for a moment to stop and consider what it would be like if everyone could relate to themselves in a loving and respectful way. If everyone could build a nurturing and trustful relationship between mind and body. I wonder what would happen. Well, I think actually what might happen is that there would be peace on earth. And I hope you get that message because I've been spelling it out all week. Thanks again, and I hope to catch up with you soon. But in the meantime, I've got to run. Bye.